Good morning, Boker Tov. Yesterday we witnessed a tremendous tragedy where innocent children were playing soccer in the Golan Heights, and 12 Druze children from the ages of 10 to 18 were murdered by a Hezbollah rocket. Now it's known that the Druze community, which comprises about 150,000 citizens in Israel, are fiercely loyal to the state of Israel. Although they are Muslims, they serve the country faithfully, even serving in the IDF. And here, fellow Muslims murdered their own brethren, 12 innocent young children with their whole lives ahead of them. And it's also known that the Druze community considers Jethro, the father-in-law of Moses, to be their prophet. And I think there are 3 lessons that we can learn from Jethro that could shed light on how we need to respond to this tragedy and mourn and grieve for these 12 innocent children and pray for their souls. The first thing about Jethro is that he was the one who gave Moses the advice. He said to his son-in-law, you should appoint judges to help you judge the community. And one of the crucial criteria is that they should be men of truth, honest judges, people who could judge honestly and not be swayed by any other influence or any other bribe. And one thing about the Druze community is that they carry this spirit of Jethro, that they do not get swayed by their Arab Muslim brothers from the north, whether it's Hezbollah, the south, whether it's Hamas, but they remain true to their own values and ideals and judge with their own eyes and see that Israel is a democratic country, not an apartheid state, as others would accuse Israel of being. The second criteria and quality of Jethro is that we find that it's in the portion of Jethro that the 10 Commandments are given. Why the 10 Commandments in the portion about Jethro? Because Jethro heard about all the miracles and all the wonders, and he left Midian, where he was a prominent priest, to go join with the Jewish people. Jethro had the courage to leave his past behind and follow the truth and acknowledge the truth and faith of one God. And that's once again the quality of the Druze community, that they believe in one God, just like Jethro did and Abraham before him. But furthermore, they have the courage to stand alone, to go it alone, to, unlike their Arab neighbors who seek the destruction of Israel, they fight against the Arabs who seek the destruction of Israel, to defend Israel and the Jewish people. Tremendous courage, like Jethro, to stand up and say, I am going to stand with the Jewish people. And finally, it's Jethro who gives us the term Baruch Hashem. Every time someone says, how are you? And you say, thank God, Baruch Hashem. It was Jethro who said to his son-in-law, Baruch Hashem, when he heard about the miracles, he said, thank God for all the miracles that God performed. And the message of those 2 simple words, Baruch Hashem, is that we all have one Hashem, one God. We are all in the image of one God. And therefore, since we are all in the image of one God, we all have a divine soul inside of us. And therefore, all human beings who are created in the image of God must unite and love each other as one, because we all emanate from one source. And so, our outpouring of grief for these Druze children who stand courageously with the Jewish people, these 12 children would have been future soldiers in the IDF. They are all heroes who stood with the Jewish people. But more than the Jewish people, they stood on the side of good against evil. Evil, and the evil was their own brethren, their Muslim brethren. And shamefully, the media can't even report this honestly. If you read the media reports, they have to say Druze children in the disputed Golan Heights. Or when they bring up the tragedy of these 12 children, they have to overshadow it by saying, but quoting numbers of the tragedies that have occurred in Gaza. Instead of focusing on the tragedy at hand, they try to pull Israel into it by saying there's some kind of equivalency. Well, there are children dying in Gaza, so obviously children are going to die in the Golan Heights. Or even going so far to say that Israel accuses Hezbollah of sending the rocket, as though there's any question whether this rocket came from Hezbollah. And you see the bias and the anti-Semitism and the anti-Israel in the media. And Jethro would be ashamed of these reporters, because Jethro was a man of truth who said we have to judge a situation honestly and truthfully for what it is. But like Jethro and like the Druze community, there will always be good people who will stand up for truth, and truth will prevail. I'm reminded of our synagogue trip just this year. In April, we went, like 30 members of our shul, on a solidarity mission to Israel. And on Shabbat afternoon, we went to the Kotel. Of course, Friday night, we prayed with thousands of people at the Kotel. But Saturday night, we did something very unique that I had never done before, and I don't think anyone in our group had ever done. We got access, permission to go up to the police department on the top of the Kotel. When you go to the Kotel, if you look up to the left, there is a tower there, and there is a police station there that guards the entire Temple Mount, not just the Kotel below, but the Temple Mount. And it was during Ramadan, and there were hundreds of thousands of people coming to the Temple Mount, and these IDF soldiers and police forces maintain peace and order for everyone, Jews, Christians, Muslims, anyone that wants to come pray in the holiest place in the world. And we went up there and we prayed the afternoon and evening services, and we did Havdalah overlooking the Kotel from the police station above. And we ate and we drank and we celebrated and we danced with the soldiers. The head of the police department, of the police station above, who was a Druze soldier, tall, handsome Druze soldier, and he welcomed us with love. We didn't even know he was Druze till he told us he was Druze. He acted and treated us like a fellow Jew. And then he did something that I'll never forget. He said to us, I want to show you something. As the commander of the base, he had this big office on the base. And he took us into his office, says, come with me into my office. And our whole group went into his office. And you know, many people have a picture of the Kotel, the Western Wall, hanging in their office. But he has something that I've never seen in any office anywhere in the world. You see, the wall of his office is directly against the wall of the Kotel. And so this Druze commander cut out a big hole in the wall of his office, and literally behind his seat at his desk, right on top of his head, is the actual Kotel. You could put your hand through the wall, and you not only see the Kotel, but you could touch the Kotel and kiss the Kotel and pray at the Kotel in his office. And I said to myself, how ironic. You would think the one office in Israel that would have a piece of the Kotel in the office would be maybe the chief rabbi of Israel, maybe the prime minister's office. But no, it's a Druze officer. Just like the portion of Jethro where God revealed the Ten Commandments was in a Torah portion named after a non-Jew who stood with the Jewish people to show him that honor, that it's in his merit, because the Ten Commandments could not be enforced unless all of humanity embraces as it. Not just Jews, but non-Jews alike. So too this Druze officer was given the honor of having the Kotel in his office, and it was in his office that we were able to reach out and touch the Kotel. That's the message of this story of Jethro. This is the message that we have to send out loud and clear, that like the Druze who live in peace with Israel and stand with the Jewish people, Israel is a democratic country, and it is a country that welcomes all people of all faith. All we ask, all we want, is to live in peace and harmony and say, Baruch Hashem, we all have one God, and let us serve Him and make our Father in heaven proud of all of His children here on earth. Have a wonderful day.